Hi everybody, this is Carrie Mubarak and this is the new moon view for March 6, 2019. The new moon view. So for those of you who are not accustomed to connecting to your lunar side, just to give you a bit of a heads up, because people talk about the new moon and they talk about the full moon. Oh, it's a full moon, so people are going to be crazy. Occasionally people will talk about the new moon, and this moonness is has been used forever and a day since the beginning of time. It is connected to astronomy and astrology, but people all over the world and in every nation have utilized the stars as a way of guiding you and directing you. But from the wooing nature standpoint, it's really about connecting to the earth, connecting to the sky, and getting yourself in synchronicity with the natural rhythms in the universe. So when it's a new moon, that's the time when it is dark. It's considered a dark moon. And we think about ourselves and the parts of ourselves that would be considered in the dark. So things that are hidden, things that are in our subconscious, things that are unseen, unheard, aspects of ourselves that we don't always bring out into the light. It also represents our feminine side. So the inner feminine is awakened during the new moon tide and the new moon phases, as well as your receptive side. So the part of you that is receiving information or that is being more receptive is more of the focus during the new moon phase. So we are entering a new moon phase on March the 6th, and that moon happens to be in the sign of Pisces. So you have the moon, which is connected to the water and connected to the feminine, in a sign that is also connected to the water and therefore could be connected to the feminine side. So if you want to think of it that way, just think in terms of your feelings, your emotions, and that which is stirring on the inside of yourself being extra heightened at this time, and especially because the moon is in a water sign in the sign of Pisces. So this Pisces moon is probably for a lot of people going to stir up some emotion, but it's also going to put you in connection with your intuitive side, with your feeling side. So follow your hunches, follow what it is that you feel that you should do, as opposed to just what somebody is telling you to do or what have you. Really pay attention to your intuition and follow your intuition is really what this is all about. The new moon, we usually think in terms of this being a time to go dormant, to go within, to quiet your mind and quiet your thought processes. Keep those very still so that you can hear, so that you can hear well. And one of the things that happens for us is that we're moving so fast, and we're operating from what we're hearing and what we're seeing, and what's being kind of thrown at us either from television or work or just people talking on the subway or what have you, and all of that just kind of goes into our head. And sometimes that information is quality information, information that you need to take heed to. And then some of that is just, it's just stuff, it's just noise. And so getting quiet, getting still, going into meditation, getting your mind still allows you to be able to hear and see and do outside of just noise or static, and outside of fears or some of the other types of emotions that can get you off your center. So this quiet time and this still time is very, very important to your overall growth. So biologically, we know that the brain itself cannot just keep on getting information without it having downtime or time to rest, where it's not thinking, it's not actively taking in information, so that your brain can assimilate what it has seen or what it has heard or what it has taken in. If you are a student and you're studying for a long period of time, you should stop, give your brain a break, so that your brain can actually absorb what it has learned. Otherwise, it doesn't, your memory's going to be off, you're not going to be able to retain your information, that kind of thing. So if you think about yourself as a whole, the whole picture of who you are the same way. You just can't keep going and going and going and going and going and don't get any rest. If you do that, you will die. If you don't get any rest, if you don't get any sleep for a long period of time, you won't make it. And certainly you will not be working optimally if you don't have enough rest. So just think about your brain and how your brain works, and then apply that to yourself, and the way that you're moving and grooving and, going about your life. You have to take a time out. New moon times are times to take out. So I tell people this because if you are, a lot of times people talk about the new moon and it being about you connecting to your feminine. If you're somebody who identifies as a male or man, then you may say, well, I don't really get to know, I don't really need to do that because I'm not trying to get into my feminine. Well, you need to get into your feminine because all of us have both sides. You have a feminine side and a masculine side. Everyone does. So if you are always exercising the masculine, and this goes for women or people who identify as women as well, if you are always utilizing your masculine side, which a lot of us are doing because we have to be very aggressive and assertive in order to just maintain our workspace, or if you work anywhere nowadays, you have to be extra assertive, and you have to be aggressive, and you have to be outspoken, and you have to show your confidence and all of that other kind of stuff. And guess what? That's all yang energy. That's all outward energy, expressive energy. But you have to balance that out. You have to be able to balance that out. And that's what this is all about. So if you think about the moon phases, you really are getting in touch with the receptive side of yourself. And if you are dealing with a lot of stress, if you work a lot, if you have to assert yourself in your profession, if you have to always be on. Some of you guys are in professions where you always have to be on. If you are doing that and you don't have time to pull back from that, then you're going to have some issues. It can create issues. So a lot of anxiety issues, stress issues are related to not taking that time out for yourself and not really connecting to the feminine and the receptive side. So all right, sorry about that. So this new moon that we have coming in is in the sign of Pisces. Like I said, it is actually in the 15th degree of Pisces, and I've been doing some studying of the degrees, and I'll just share with you what they have to say about this degree status of Pisces. And I'm reading this from jamesburgess.com about the Sabian mysteries. This is I've been studying this a little bit, and I really like the way that they explain the degrees. You can go anywhere online and find out what the degrees mean, but I'm really interested in the Sabian mysteries and Sabian symbols, and the way that they express that. So I will share that with you. So this is the 15th through the 16th degree of Pisces, according to jamesburgess.com. their key word or their key theme or key title for these phases is the flow of inspiration. The flow of inspiration. So I'll read a little bit for you and then we'll just kind of connect the dots here. Any creative person is at the point of connectedness between the hidden source of inspiration and their immediate time and place. Now, this is really, really significant because we always talk about being in the present moment or being in the present. And what this is saying to me is that when you are looking at your immediate time and space, that when you're in that moment and when you can be fully present in the moment, that means you're not looking ahead of yourself. You're not focusing or over focusing on your past. You're not over focusing on the future, but you are really satisfied and clear about your present situation, your present moment. Then there is that inspiration, that's that spark of inspiration that comes from that. Having the mind still and you being able to connect in that way is very, very important. Again, when we talk about having that quiet space in your mind and reaching the quiet space within yourself, and not being so focused on the past and not being so focused on the future, that moment in time is really precious. It's really, really precious because that's where inspiration comes from. Your mind is still, your body is still. It allows your spirit to just speak. In the Bible, it talks about finding the still small voice. And that still small voice is what you're really listening for. But if you want to hear the still small voice, you have to be still. You have to be still, being still in the moment. Each moment has its own unique qualities, scenarios, and needs, and an inspiration can be found by those who have learned how to tune into the quietness that surrounds us always. So this is really a perfect message for the new moon because it is about finding that quiet space, finding a time out where you can go in and you can hear and you can get some kind of idea about how to move forward. And that's what that's all about. You know, you can go to 100 different people and they can tell you 100 different things that you should do to help you move forward in your life. But there's nothing like being still and hearing that for yourself because you're going to hear it in exactly the way that you need to. All right, let's see. Often called the muse, the spirit guides or angels, there is some aware force of life that directs itself to address the questions of the moment in original ways. So this is, again, like I was saying, this is just the way that you can hear it. You will be able to hear things in just the way that you need to receive it. This can only happen when we have faith, the strength of character to make a new statement in the world, and the ability to concentrate and be quiet. So I can't say enough about this phase and the importance of that quiet time, that time out. And that's what this is all about. So I'll keep reading. Spirituality must meet real problems as well as imagined ones. With the development of civilization came humanity's attempts to form relationships with greater unseen forces. This is the birth of human spirituality. To early inhabitants of the planet, survival issues made it essential that spiritual power had practical potentiality. That is really, really key. I'll read on. Let me see, where did I leave off? Indeed, if our spirituality does not serve us in real terms, then what is it for? That's very real. So if your spiritual self or your spiritual connection or your spiritual aspirations are not manifesting themselves in such a way that it feeds your physical, practical, everyday life, then what is the purpose of it? What purpose does it serve? It should in some way inspire you, or it should feed you in some way, or it should feel like it is giving you the answers that you need in order for you to continue to reach towards your highest self. Even today, everyday living throws up critical questions that we find we need to address in such a way that both expediency and principle are considered carefully and, if possible, reconciled. Our spirituality must meet real problems as well as imagined ones. Only the smallest minority of people who consider themselves spiritual are willing and capable of finding alignment between the seen and the unseen realms. For this, it is intuitively obvious that without such alignment, there is certain to be imperfection of understanding of both worlds. So there would be a flaw in your understanding of the spiritual as well as a flaw in the understanding of your actual physical reality if they're not aligned. So to me, this is also about balance. Again, we talked about balance in the male and the female side, the yin and the yang, um, masculine and feminine, dark and light. But there again, there has to be an alignment there. There has to be a good understanding of all of that in order for all of it to work to your benefit. It says the world is a cornucopia. There are unlimited resources available for our enjoyment, and they motivate us toward the realization of the potential inner condition of spiritual abundance. So I think that's really key, because we think about the word abundance, and when we use the word abundance and people talk a lot about their abundance or walking in their abundance or calling in their abundance or praying for abundance, most of the time when we hear that, we are thinking about money. We're thinking about what we want, and we're thinking about this lifestyle that we want to live where we have all of the things that are at our disposal. But what this is talking about is spiritual abundance. It's about being in a position to receive spiritual abundance. And spiritual abundance can lead you toward a better understanding of what abundance looks like for you as an individual. Every single person on the planet is different. Every single person has their own calling. They have their own path. They have their own walk. And one person may have this set of ideals and this set of tasks to complete, and then somebody else might have another set of tasks to complete. And depending on what that is, depending on your purpose, whatever your purpose calls you to do, is what your abundance is going to look like. The same is true of success. So depending on what your calling is, what your higher calling is, and what your true purpose is, that's what's going to determine what the measure of success is. It's also going to determine what abundance looks like for you, what wealth looks like for you. Some people may have a lot in one area and not in another. They may be spiritually very rich, but physically very poor, or vice versa. It could be somebody who's has lots of money, but they're very depressed. And again, it just depends on the individual. It just depends on the individual. So you got to think about your higher calling. You got to think about your higher self, and you got to think about your purpose or your calling in life in order to see, where you fit within this. So I think that's really important, talking about spiritual abundance, because we're always talking about, I always hear people talking about, walking in their abundance or claiming their abundance. And it's like, well, my question is always, well, what abundance are you looking for? What type of abundance are you looking for? Maturity in an individual is evidenced by their conscious sensitivity to this ever-present phenomenon of the descent of light. There is a clear process which can be learned through meditation and spiritual practice for bringing down the light of spirit into human affairs. So when we're praying and when we're meditating and we're asking for these things, then the next thing is to really be open and be able to bring down that energy from the unseen world or from the spirit realm into the real practical world. And the one good way to do that, and I always tell people this, is to write down your vision. Write down the vision. In the book of Habakkuk in the Bible, God told Habakkuk to write the vision down and make it plain on the table so that they would run that read it, that and it wouldn't tarry, it wouldn't be delayed. So write down your vision. When you write down your vision, you actually have already manifested it at this point. Up until then, it was an idea or a concept that had no shape and have no form. But once you write it down on a piece of paper, you can actually pick up the piece of paper and hold it and say, yes, this is a real thing now. It has now already started manifesting itself in the material world, even if it's just the words or the vision as you see it on the paper. So don't leave things in your head, write them down. If you have a vision for your life, write it down, and write it down somewhere where you can go back to it and refer to it whenever you want to. This spirituality in action is the jewel of the crown and the pinnacle of human accomplishment. So when we are able to draw upon the wellspring of inspiration and allow that to flow into our physical world, this is really kind of like spirituality in action. So all of this is connected to this moon in Pisces. All of this right here is connected to the moon being in the 15th to the 16th degree of Pisces. So where the moon is, where our feelings are and our emotions are, and you can get a little deeper into this if you know your own astrological chart. But if not, just kind of generally, we can all benefit from the moon being in Pisces with regards to this. So as you're meditating and you're praying on some of your goals and aspirations, some of the objectives that you're trying to meet, whether it be in your personal life or your professional life, just kind of embody that and make that connection and be able to utilize that. It is all about manifesting right now and being able to draw from the inspiration of the unseen world and then apply it to whatever projects or whatever it is that you're inspired to do, because this is again about the flow of inspiration, how it works and where it comes from. The inspiration comes down, as this passage is putting it, it's the descent of light. You think of it as the descent of life. The universe conspires with you, not against you. So if it's something that you want, it's something that you desire, if it's a new career, if it's a new relationship, if you're just trying to get in touch with your inner self, if you want to build up your spiritual knowledge, or if you want to go back, to school and further your education, all of that is available to you and is a part of the divine resource that you have that's available. And so you just have to know how to bring it down into the real world. Such awareness bestows an exceptional ability to meet anything that comes up, however unusual, with ingenuity, poise, and imagination. Imagination being the key word, because that which we imagine can be made manifest. If it weren't possible, you wouldn't even think about it. It wouldn't even come to you. So if it came to you, if an idea comes to you, it has possibility in the physical realm. Don't discredit or don't discredit or discount whatever comes to you or whatever you're inspired to do. Although we do need to guard against hubris or disdaining those who seem to be less clever or adroit. I agree with that. The proof that we have mastered this skill is that we are never endingly finding ingenious ways to cope with life. So this really is about tapping into the unseen realm. There is a conjunct between the moon and Neptune is all about the unseen world. So the moon and Neptune are walking hand in hand. It's like they're walking hand in hand down the road during the new moon phase. So Utilize your imagination. Don't discredit whatever it is that's coming to you. But at the same time, the thought is not to just have ideas for ideas' sake and go out in left field. These ideas have to have a practical application. If there is no practical application to it, then it won't last. It won't have the staying power. So that's just something for you to think about and to marinate on as you are having your new moon activities, whether they be readings or ceremonies, or whether you just take that new moon time for yourself to for your own self-care, and to just kind of relax and chill and revitalize and rejuvenate yourself. So the new moon right now, which is also connected to the last new moon. The last new moon we had was about um, emotional freedom, freeing ourselves emotionally. The last full moon was about bringing up those things that are deep inside of us that have remained repressed. So it was like bringing up the things that have been in the dark into the light. And so now it's using the inspiration, or taking things from the unseen world, or receiving from the unseen world that which you need in order to continue to grow, and to push yourself to the next level, to get yourself to the next level, or to reach, whatever goals it is that you have out there for yourself at this time. So connecting to the new moon again, highly recommended meditation, prayer, spending time alone, finding some quiet moments, really quiet moments, getting your mind still. Breathing exercises are always great. Allow yourself before you go to bed to wind down. So wind down, then go to bed. Don't just go to bed exhausted. Wind down first, uh, and get your mind still, and then get your rest. The dream space is probably also very active, because again, the moon will get you in touch with your subconscious. Also, Neptune connects us to the subconscious and to the that part of ourselves that remains dormant and that comes out during the dream time. So watch your dreams, pay attention to your dreams, write them down. They may have some significance to your experience right now. So I think that is pretty much it. If you would like to get more in depth, or if you would like to get your own personal new moon view, you can do that by connecting with me at info@wooingnature.life, and that information will be just below this video as well. And so if you want to do that, I just need your birth time, your birth location, and then of course your birth date, and we can see exactly where the moon is in your personal chart and see which areas are being activated, and then how you can use that new moon energy to help you reach some of your own personal goals. As always, what we're doing at Wooing Nature is utilizing the intuitive in order to help you organize and manage your life. Stress reduction, anxiety reduction, getting focused, meeting your goals, making whether those goals are physical goals. If it's weight, you want to lose weight, or you need to gain some weight, or you need to get your mind focused, or if you have an idea that you want to launch, or if you're trying to change your profession or change your job, or if you're dealing with relationship issues, family issues, things going on at home. This is a way for you to manage some of those unmanageable things, but to do that intuitively, and we're always glad to help you. So as always, I hope you all have a great new moon. Take it easy, take it light, give your brain a break, take some time outs, and we'll see you next time. As always, have a great new moon and have a wonderful life.